Ethan stands at his living room window, watching the sky darken over the city. It's been threatening rain all day, the air thick and heavy with anticipation. He's been home for an hour now, and finally the first drops begin to fall. They start slowly, tentatively tapping against the window glass. Then more and more, until suddenly the sky opens up and rain pours down in earnest. Ethan smiles. He's always loved rainy evenings, especially from the safety of his fifth-floor apartment. The apartment building is old, built in the 1930s, with high ceilings and large windows that rattle slightly when the wind picks up. Ethan moved here 6 months ago, drawn by the character of the place, the way the afternoon light floods through those tall windows, the creaking wooden floors that tell stories of all the people who've lived here before him. Tonight, those windows stream with water, creating moving patterns of light from the street lamps below. The room takes on a different quality in the rain, softer somehow, more intimate, as if the apartment has drawn in on itself, becoming a shelter from the storm. Ethan walks away from the window and into his small kitchen. The apartment is chilly now, the temperature having dropped with the rain. He turns on the oven and sets it to a low heat, leaving the door slightly ajar. It's an old trick his father taught him, a way to warm a small apartment without using expensive heat. While the oven warms the space, Ethan decides to make hot chocolate, the real kind, not from a packet. He measures cocoa powder into a small pot, adds sugar and a pinch of salt, then slowly whisks in milk. He turns the flame on low and stirs gently, watching the mixture transform from grainy to smooth to glossy. The smell of chocolate begins to fill the apartment, mixing with the scent of rain coming through the slightly open window in the living room. It's a perfect combination, warm and cool at once, cozy and fresh. Thunder rumbles in the distance, not threatening, just a low acknowledgement that the storm is settling in for the evening. Ethan doesn't mind. He has nowhere to be, nothing urgent to do. The rain has given him permission to simply be here, to exist in this moment without purpose or plan. Ethan pours his hot chocolate into a large mug and carries it carefully to his reading chair by the window. This chair is his most prized possession, a worn leather armchair he inherited from his grandfather. It's perfectly broken in, molded to the shape of countless hours of reading and thinking and dreaming. He had planned to work on some freelance projects tonight, but the rain has changed everything. His laptop sits closed on his desk, and he feels no pull toward it. Instead, he's drawn to the stack of vinyl records next to his turntable, a recent acquisition from an estate sale. He flips through the collection, his fingers moving over the worn cardboard sleeves. Jazz, classical, old folk songs. He pulls out a record he hasn't played yet, something called Nighttime Meditations by a pianist he's never heard of. He slides it from its sleeve, places it carefully on the turntable, and lowers the needle. The first notes fill the apartment, soft piano that seems to have been composed specifically for rainy evenings. The sound is warm and analog, with that slight crackle that only vinyl produces, like a fireplace for the ears. Sitting in his grandfather's chair, holding the warm mug in both hands, listening to rain and piano, Ethan feels his mind beginning to wander. Not anxiously, not productively, just wandering the way minds do when given space and permission. He thinks about his childhood, about summer storms when his mother would let him and his sister build blanket forts in the living room. They'd drag every pillow and cushion from the couches, drape sheets and blankets over chairs and tables, and create elaborate kingdoms that existed only during storms. He thinks about college, about studying late at night in his dorm room while rain drummed against the window. That feeling of being separate from the world, protected, able to focus completely because the weather had created a natural boundary between inside and outside. He thinks about his grandmother's apartment, so different from this one, but also a place of safety and warmth. The way she always had cookies in a tin, the way her apartment smelled like lavender and old books, the way she'd let him stay up past bedtime when he visited, both of them pretending his parents wouldn't mind. These thoughts drift through his consciousness without weighing him down. They're pleasant ghosts, reminders of other rainy evenings, other moments of peace and shelter. As the evening deepens and the storm continues, Ethan becomes aware of the building around him. In fair weather, His neighbors are mostly invisible, just occasional footsteps or muffled voices. But tonight, the rain makes everyone's presence more known, more felt. Above him, in apartment 612, someone is cooking. He can smell onions and garlic, maybe tomatoes, something rich and warming. The scent drifts down through the old building's ventilation in a way that makes him feel connected to whoever is up there, both of them taking care of themselves on this rainy night. Next door, he hears the faint sound of laughter, children by the sound of it. He's never met his neighbors on that side, but he knows there are at least 2 kids. He imagines them playing some kind of game, making their own entertainment while the rain falls outside. Below, the couple in apartment 412 is having a conversation. He can't make out words, just the rhythm of voices, back and forth, comfortable and familiar. They've lived here for years, he's learned. This is their home in a way it isn't quite yet for him. The building creaks and settles around all of them. This old structure that has sheltered hundreds of people over the decades, through countless storms, through every kind of weather. There's something deeply comforting about being part of this, about being one temporary resident in a long line of temporary residents, all of them finding shelter here. The record plays on, one song blending into another. Ethan's hot chocolate is half finished, still warm enough to drink. The rain continues its steady percussion against the windows. The oven has warmed the apartment to a perfect temperature, comfortable without being stuffy. He realizes he's been sitting still for nearly an hour, doing nothing, and it feels like an accomplishment rather than a waste. In his normal life, there's always something to do, some task to complete, some email to answer, some project to advance. But the rain has suspended all of that. It's created a pocket of time outside of regular time, a space where simply being is enough. His phone buzzes somewhere in the apartment, probably the bedroom where he left it charging. He doesn't get up to check it. Whatever it is can wait. This moment, this peaceful, rainy evening, is too precious to interrupt. Eventually, Ethan rises from the chair, his body slightly stiff from sitting so long in one position. He stretches, feeling his spine lengthen, his shoulders roll back. He walks to the kitchen and rinses his mug, then turns off the oven. The apartment has retained the heat and will stay comfortable through the night. He makes himself a simple dinner, scrambled eggs with cheese and toast, eaten standing at the kitchen counter while looking out at the rain-soaked city. The streetlights below create halos in the mist. Umbrellas bob along the sidewalk like colorful mushrooms. After eating, Ethan moves through his small apartment, tidying without really thinking about it. He folds the throw blanket on the couch, straightens the books on the shelf, waters his 3 plants, the only ones that have survived his inconsistent care. He takes a long, hot shower, the bathroom filling with steam while the rain continues outside. It's almost like being in the rain itself, but warm and safe. He stays under the water longer than usual, letting it run over his shoulders, down his back, washing away any lingering tension from the day. In his bedroom, Ethan pulls back the covers and climbs into bed earlier than usual. The rain has made him drowsy in the best way, a natural tiredness that feels healthy and right. He props himself up against the pillows and reaches for the book on his nightstand, a mystery novel he's been slowly working through. But after reading just a few pages, he realizes he's not really taking in the words. His mind is too full of the evening, too satisfied and peaceful to focus on a story. He sets the book aside and simply lies there, listening. The rain has settled into a steady rhythm now, no longer the dramatic downpour of earlier, but a consistent, soothing sound. It's the kind of rain that could last all night, that might still be falling when he wakes in the morning. He can hear it on the roof above, on the fire escape outside his bedroom window, in the gutters and downspouts of the old building. Each surface creates a slightly different note, and together they form a kind of symphony, nature's own lullaby. Lying in the darkness of his bedroom, Ethan feels a profound sense of gratitude. Not for anything specific, just for this. For being warm and dry while the rain falls. For having a place to call home, even if it's just a rental apartment in an old building. For the simple pleasure of a rainy evening with nowhere to go and nothing to do. He thinks about all the times he's wished for different circumstances. A bigger apartment, a better job, a more exciting life. But right now, in this moment, everything feels exactly as it should be. The apartment isn't too big or too small. It's exactly the right size for one person and a rainy evening. His life isn't too busy or too empty. It has just enough space for moments like this, for unexpected pockets of peace and contentment. He has just enough, not too much and not too little, and that feels like a kind of wealth. Lying in the darkness of his bedroom, Ethan feels a profound sense of gratitude. Not for anything specific, just for this. For being warm and dry while the rain falls. For having a place to call home, even if it's just a rental apartment in an old building. For the simple pleasure of a rainy evening with nowhere to go and nothing to do. He thinks about all the times he's wished for different circumstances. A bigger apartment, a better job, a more exciting life. But right now, in this moment, everything feels exactly as it should be. The apartment isn't too big or too small. It's exactly the right size for one person and a rainy evening. His life isn't too busy or too empty. It has just enough space for moments like this, for unexpected pockets of peace and contentment. He has just enough, not too much and not too little, and that feels like a kind of wealth. Hours pass. The rain intensifies briefly around midnight, then softens again. Thunder rolls through once more, distant and drowsy. Lightning flickers, barely visible through closed eyelids. The building shelters all its residents through the storm. In every apartment, people sleep or read or talk quietly or simply exist. All of them held together by these old walls, by the shared experience of a rainy night. Morning will come eventually, and with it, sunshine. The storm will pass. The city will dry. Life will resume its normal pace. But the memory of this night will linger, a reminder that sometimes the best evenings are the unplanned ones, the ones given to us by weather and chance, the ones where we do nothing except allow ourselves to be present, to be comfortable, to be home. Sleep now. Let the rain carry you into dreams. Let the walls hold you safe. Let the night enfold you in its quiet embrace. Tomorrow is another day, but tonight there is only this. The rain, the warmth, the perfect peace of being exactly where you are. Rest well. His last conscious thought is a simple one, a small moment of recognition. Tomorrow he might forget this feeling, might get caught up again in the rush of daily life. But tonight, for these few hours, he has been completely present, completely at peace. The rain continues. The building stands solid around him. The city breathes its nighttime rhythm beyond the windows. And in apartment 512, Ethan sleeps deeply, peacefully, held safe by the storm.